guys, so now we are going to be reading our story, which is A Grand Visitor. Once there was a great excitement in Toyland, and all the toys were expecting a new grand visitor. He comes once a year, said Bruni to Tiptoe. Guess who it is? But Tiptoe couldn't. Well, I'll tell you, said Bruni, feeling the most important because she was the only one who knew who it was. It's Father Christmas, or Santa Claus. Yeah, they were coming, and really? Cried Tiptoe in surprise. Why does he need to come here? Then Bruni said, Bruni, what a weird name. Bruni said, yeah, because he needs to collect up all us toys. Yeah, so these are all toys. He needs to collect us toys and bring us to all the children in all the world. Tiptoe and Jolly looked rather frightened. So Tiptoe and Jolly, I guess they're like best friends or cousins or siblings or something. And they are looking very scared because Santa Claus is going to take them to different children. And they want to be together. They had once belonged to children, once. They had been in a nursery where other toys had been unkind to them. So I'm guessing that they were with children before, and they were in like a toy house nursery, I guess. And all the other toys in that nursery were also alive with like magic stuff, and they were being unkind to Tiptoe and Jolly. And then they ran away from the nursery and came here to Toyland. And yeah, I guess they went with Santa Claus at first, and they were really scared for Santa Claus to come, and they came. Mr. To and Fro. Father Christmas is coming! He's coming! Shouted Mr. To and Fro, wobbling so much that he almost knocked Tiptoe over. And there he was, the jolly old man, sitting in his beautiful sleigh. I'm trying to use as many adjectives as I can. In his beautiful sleigh, and he was very happy to see all of these beautiful toys, and he wanted to take them all to other kids, and he smiled at them, each of them, and he held his sack like this, and his magic sack, as I said yesterday in another story, he held his magic sack like this, and all the toys walked in, and he said jokes and greeted them while they went in. Oh, but Tiptoe and Jolly were scared of Father Christmas, so they went into their little jolly cottage, and they stayed there. They closed the windows, closed the doors. Father Christmas was putting up a party outside for all the toys. They didn't even dare looking outside the windows. This is what Father Christmas is like, greeting all the toys and holding his sack, and yeah, those. You little red ball, come along into my sack. You'll go into the foot of a stocking very nicely. The little red ball, with a bounce of excitement, rolled into the enormous sack of Father Christmas. And you, baby doll, come along in, cried Father Christmas. I know a little girl called Anne who would love you. And you, humming top, spin into my sack. And yeah, he's just greeting all those toys, every toy you can think, greeted all the toys to come in, and yeah, he's just greeting them all in. Tiptoe and Jolly are in their cottage, and after all the toys have left, Santa Claus was thinking. Santa Claus said, that's it? I thought I saw a pretty fairy doll and a jolly sailor doll this morning. So I guess Jolly is a sailor doll, and Tiptoe is a fairy doll. I would like to have them with me. Are they here? No, they're not, said Mr. To and Fro, looking all around. But I know where they live. I can go ask them. So Mr. To and Fro wobbled all the way, as fast as he can, all the way to the jolly cottage, and he knocked on their door, and he forced Tiptoe to Tiptoe, not in like a mean way. He just asked them really happily to come out. And he went into Santa Claus's sack, and so did Mr. To and Fro. I think so. It didn't say anything about that, but they did. And Santa Claus took them, put the sack on his neck. The sack was almost full. Tiptoe and Jolly were on the neck part. He was like holding the sack here, and Tiptoe and Jolly were like around here somewhere. They were touching his neck, the part of the sack where Tiptoe and Jolly were. And when the Santa was flying, Tiptoe and Jolly were crying because they couldn't see all the other toys that were left behind, and their jolly cottage, because they couldn't say any goodbyes to all their friends. They wanted to see them again, so they were crying, and all their teardrops were dropping through the sack onto Santa's neck. And Santa felt those drops, and he said, he stopped the reindeer, and he said, "Where's this water coming from?" He wondered. "It's not raining." He stopped his reindeer and opened the sack. Out fell Tiptoe and Jolly, still weeping bitterly. Father Christmas stared in surprise. "What's the matter?" he asked at last. "Aren't you pleased to be going with me?" "Oh, Father Christmas, we've both been in the nursery before," said Jolly, wiping his eyes and trying to be brave in case Father Christmas was cross with him. And we weren't happy, so we ran away to Toyland, and we've got such a dear little cottage, and we were so happy. And now we have to say goodbye to one another, and we just can't bear it," sobbed poor Tiptoe. So Tiptoe and Jolly are really sad because they're probably going to go to different houses with like different toys. And "Dear me, why didn't you just tell me you had been out in the big world before and had lived in a nursery?" asked Father Christmas. "Don't you know that toys are only allowed to go out in the world once?" Jolly and Tiptoe, they both didn't know that Santa Claus, you were allowed to tell Santa Claus that you didn't want to go. So Santa Claus said, "You're only at Toyland Gate, so you can go back, you can walk back home. I don't think you'll mind." And Tiptoe and Jolly did not mind at all. They got off the sleigh and went all the way back to the jolly old cottage. Jolly cottage. It's not old, I think. All of their friends were so happy to see them, and that's pretty much the end of our story we'll be reading today. Okay guys, so our next story is a Christmas legend. Once upon a time, in a ivied tower of a little church, there were 3 wonderful bells. They rang only on Christmas Eve when the people brought their gifts to church to be given to the poor in remembrance of the Christ child. I guess they're Christians, like me. But there was a year where the Christmas bells didn't ring, and so was the next one, and so was the next one. The bells did not start ringing. So, what has happened to our bells, our wonderful Christmas bells? The sorrowing people asked. Shall we never hear its music again? But the father of the church asked all to bring their choicest gifts. "For," he said, "perhaps our gifts have not been worthy of the Christ child, and that is why the bells do not ring." So he thinks that the people's presents, gifts, are not worthy for the Christ child, and he thinks we should bring more better gifts. Then there were 2 boys, rich man, prince, and I forgot the last one. Ladies, there we go, lady. And the 2 boys got 2 pence? 10 pence? 10 pence piece. Again, I do not know what that means. Comment down below. A silver 10 pence piece. I guess that's like a silver 10 pence piece is like really expensive back then. So I have learned that it is actually 5 pence, 2 pence, 10 pence, and stuff like that. I guess they were like really expensive back then because it had taken them a whole year to save that up. And how proud of it they were now. They were really proud of how much they got, but I don't know why, because it was 10 pence. I mean, this was like 200 years ago, so yeah. And they wanted to give this gift to the Christ child, all of it. But while they were going to the church, they met a poor old man. He, in his crooked voice, he said to the boys, "Please, do you have any pennies to spare?" And, ooh, does this remind you of that story on his way home with the choir boy helping the old poor man? Ooh, that's another relation. The boys actually were thinking really hard if they wanted to give the 10 pence piece, all of it, to the old man, or give it to the church. Then they looked at the old man again, and he was looking very, very bad, very sad. So they gave it to him. And they went to the church, and the boys went on, and although now they had no gift for the Christ child, they knew in their hearts that God would understand. For wasn't the poor old man also his child? They reached the church at last, and as they stepped into its welcoming light, they heard the Father inviting all to bring their presents and lay them before the altar. Princes gave their jeweled crowns, and ladies gave their rings, rich gave ornaments of priceless worth, and merchants, yes, merchants was the last one, and merchants gave their gold. But still the bells were silent. Last of all came the two little ragged boys who, in loving kindness, had given away all they had. They knelt down side by side before the altar and held out their empty hands. Immediately, the church bells began to ring, louder and sweeter than ever before. Thine is the gift divine, they seemed to sing and sing again. Those who given of their plenty knelt down in all humility, and with tears of joy in their eyes, gave thanks to God for the music of the Christmas bells. Ring-a-ding-ding, this is the music and I don't know how the rhythm goes, but let's just say it. Ring-a-ding-ding, can you hear the bells, the Merry Christmas bells? Peace on earth they ring, goodwill to men they sing. Peace on earth, goodwill to men, they ring and sing again. The Merry Christmas bells, the Merry Christmas bells. And yes, that is the last story we are going to be reading today. And that is the end of it. So, if you guys like this video, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and give me a huge thumbs up. Bye!